You're gonna have your one big piece for your ruffle or your flounce, and then this is gonna be the other piece that I had you cut that I said 3 by 5. Mine's bigger. Is going to be your waistband or your band. Okay, so I want you to take your band, fold it in half, and press it, and then just fold back a 1/2 inch to prepare it. Okay, so it'll look like that. When you're doing would you mind shutting that machine off? When you're doing a ruffle, what we're trying to do is gather all this fabric into different ratios. Right now we're going to do a 2-to-1 ratio, and the best way to do this is to take it and put it on maybe a number 4 on your sewing machine, and you're going to just stitch at a 1/2 inch the first row, and you're going to see that it's already starting to gather it, but we're going to do it manually. No back stitching. Okay, and then I want you to come in, you can kind of straighten that out a bit, and do a second row right inside that. So your first one is on your seam allowance, and your second one, you're going to run with your foot right alongside this edge. So it'll be closer to the raw edge. You're doing 2 rows of gathering stitches. Some people even do 3, but I just think 2 is enough. Kind of cut a long string. Then I want you, now you've got 2 strings, 2 sets of strings. I want you to pull the bottom one. I did mine with the white on the bottom and the pink on the top so that we could see difference. And you don't want to pull all 4, you just want to pull the bottom one. This is a lock stitch machine, so when you pull if you pull the top one, you'll literally lock your stitch and you won't be able to gather this way I'm doing. Try to pull mine is really long. I really shouldn't. Try to just pull it from one direction. If you feel like you can't do it all from one, then you go it from the other side. But you're gonna just gather to the point that you think is good enough for a minute. Till you, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That was my fault. So now I want you to take your band and I want you to divide it in half, like fold it in half, and put a little notch in the middle as a reference point for you. So when you start to gather this, give yourself an idea of where the middle is on this. Actually, notch this first so you don't have to think about it later. I'll put a little notch there. And I want you to take your right side. So this would be, I didn't mark mine. Shoot. This is my, if I had marked this is going to be my right side of my band, and this is my wrong side. So I want you to put the right sides together and line up your initial notches. Actually pin it from the side of the ruffles, because you need to still adjust your ruffles. And then go ahead and line up your ends. And now you look at what you have left in the middle. I think I'll just work on half for right now. You have to come in here and just, it's called distributing the gathers. I pulled the initial large amount just to get it started, but now you can come in here, and now you have to use your eye to decide like what looks good. Put another pin somewhere around the middle point. If you were doing really long pieces, you'd have lots of notches to kind of divide it up. You guys have a small piece. Okay, so now I'm not gonna work on that half. I'm just gonna do half for you. I'll do the other half later. I'm gonna move my stitches out of the way. Now I can still go back in, because now they're pinned in a couple of places, and pull it a little tighter. It's almost like using it like a drawstring. Really make sure they look really nice. Take your time with this. Kind of just finish it up, but if you don't have nails like I do, just come in and use something, you know, to kind of pull them through. You could use like a screwdriver or something that flat that'll help you. Okay, so you can put as many pins as you want. You can come in and hand baste it if you need to do that for my demonstration. Just to do it faster, I won't. If I was doing a real garment, I would be hand basting right along this gathering stitch. Okay. Now I want you to come in and sew it. So you're going to readjust your machine back to the 2.5. Like I said, I'm just going to start in the midpoint.
You did it at 4 before?
Yeah, I did it at 4. Some fabrics you need to go all the way to 5 if they're heavy. Right, so you don't want it to be so loose that it just does a really loose gather, because it won't be as pretty. It won't hold the stitches as nice. Okay, so you're good. Now what you want to do is stitch right on this gathering stitch so that you don't have to pull it out. Because if you don't stitch right on it, you might have to come back and start pulling it out on the garment. So if you do it correctly, if you do it right on there, you shouldn't have to take it out. Or like right a little bit to the left. That should be right on your seam allowance. And you also have an opportunity here to kind of come back in, and now that you're like right on top of it, you could sit here and adjust these gathers a little bit more too. Don't go over your pins. And it should be straight. They shouldn't start to sew at an angle. I just keep pulling to make sure they're straight. Flounce. Okay, that's cute, right? See that? Now you have your band. I want you to turn your band. Now you already had it folded in the 1/2 inch seam allowance folded back, and now you can fold over, covering, just about covering that line. You don't want to go over on the fabric edge. You want to go right to the edge. If you go too much past this pink line and you start sewing, you're actually sewing on the garment, and you'll ruin like your waistband and your fabric. It'll just smush everything. And you're going to be making waistbands just like this on your like on your pants, pretty much like this. So I want you to learn this part. last step. So now you're gonna actually close the waistband. I do want you to hand baste this closed first so that you get this really accurate. And you're gonna come back over as close as you can to this edge. So my suggestion would be to try to just ride the edge of your foot along the edge of the fold of the waistband. And just keep in mind that you want it to be right on the edge of that pink. You would have on a garment matching thread, so it wouldn't matter. Okay, so this would be the back side, and then this is your front. Okay, nice, okay, good, thank you.